Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is June 1st, YC125, and pink keep stars for everyone. It is the Eve Universe Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's it going, guys? It is another week. That is very bright. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Can I bump this down? No. Can I bump this down? Yeah, sure, that'll work. All right, guys. How's it going? Yay, pink kill mails. Yay! Oh, man. And all of that text is off of the black screen. Let's just go ahead and move that over. There we go. Now we have like a scene. What's up, Mad Hatter? LM1, all y'all coming in. 07 to you. Make sure to like the stream, the video, whatever it is, if you're watching it late or after the live show. Settle on in. We've got some things to talk about. We have news about Viridian. We have news from the Caldari state. And we also have we have news from the Federation, specifically in Taki, and that's one of the big deep dives that I want to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about the news, but then I kind of want to go back and we're going to look at all the different characters, because CCP's latest news has hinted at what might be coming with the Intaki stuff. But it's going to take some effort for us to piece all the pieces together, right? Is it possible to hide these dumb dollar signs? I'm gonna have to look into it another time. It's just so it doesn't happen in the main chat. It's happening in the API to designate the fact that you're a member. I don't know why. That seems really dumb because I have my own icon for that. And man, is this still like super? I am pale. Hold on a second. That looks better. So what do you expect the TTP to be, and what can we explore the most evil color combination? I know, right? I hope it's going to be, you know, like lime green and pink. That'd be great. Anywho, okay, so let us begin first and foremost with the New Eden news. We did the New Eden news from a couple days ago. Kind of randomly on the last stream, but this time this is a big one. This is a huge one. We're going to talk a lot. Today is going to be a lot of speculation about this news article. In fact, actually, now that I think about it, let's focus on that when we've got time to focus on that. Let's go ahead and jump into the dev blog and what we discover, or what we learned today, this morning, which is about Upwell structure personalization. Now, from the get-go, on the jump, I want to say that I haven't been both disappointed and excited about something simultaneously in a single dev blog in a very long time. I know Malak and I were just talking last night about like, oh, what could this mean? What could it be? And, you know, we were talking about how, well, there's the volumetric smoke, so there's going to, they hinted at other customizations, and there was hints of more stuff to come, probably not with Viridian proper, but you can tell that their gears are working. But today we got the, I guess, conservative idea of what it is that we're getting with Viridian when it comes to structures. And boy, is there a lot of people upset, and is there a lot of misinformation going on. So, not saying that everybody is wrong for being upset, but let's go ahead and cut through the bullshit to figure out what is and isn't happening with structure skins. So, let's jump into it. Upwell Structure Personalization. Welcome to the latest installment in Viridian in Focus series of articles giving you advanced insight into the upcoming elements of EVE Online Viridian expansion due in June. So this is the third, right? The first one we got was about the volumetric clouds and other visual improvements. The second one was about the T2 dreads, the Lancer dreads. This one is about structure customization. Viridian will be the first of two major expansions in EVE in 2023, giving Capsuleers new tools to manage their corporations and set goals, to personalize Upwell structures and engage in socially driven gameplay. Viridian will also provide more possibilities for new and existing players to forge relationships as they fly and work together for the glory of their corp. Now, a lot of that we have not actually gotten the details of so far, right? Nothing that we've gotten so far actually gives us that new tools to manage the corporation and setting goals and all sorts of stuff. This does begin to create the first of a kind of corporation goal, but we'll talk about that when we get there. A very excited feature in the upcoming Viridian expansion as part of the EVE heraldry journey has been the ability for player corporations to personalize their Upwell structures, further express their individual and collective identity in New Eden. Get the details on the new edition as it is discussed throughout this article in the video below, as well as the CCP TV stream, which we've already seen. It was a very short stream, too. Did you guys notice that? It was only a half an hour long. In fact, it was really funny because, like, you could tell even at the very beginning, they showed it off, and then they're like, well, we were just planning on showing it off, and we've already done that. So it's like they didn't really know. Like, it doesn't take that long to show a UI, and then it's like, well, what are we going to do for the rest of the time? But either way, let's turn on desktop audio and listen to this video.
In the Viridian expansion, we're focusing on enabling corporation to better express their visual identity in New Eden. And for this, we'll be introducing a new tool, the Super.
So this is the new UI, okay? And they showed it off in stream too. So this is it. This isn't like a dev preview or just like a dev tool or something like this. This appears to be what we're getting. And they even implied that tomorrow we will be getting this on Singularity potentially. So if you're watching this recorded, it's probably already live on Sissy. But yeah.
Supercur-induced nanocoding expressive resequencer. We just call it Skinner. And for this, we're introducing a new corporation role called Brand Manager. And the brand managers will be the individuals holding the key to the visual identity of a corporation.
Okay, so just to clarify, basically a corporation has different roles, and these roles can be given out to people. Something like auditor or, personnel manager, structure manager, these kinds of things that gives them rights to do things on behalf of the corporation, whether it be use in the market, or put up ads, apply, allow people into the corporation, etc., etc., right? And so what they're saying is that they're coming out with a new role called brand manager, and that this role will allow anyone with it to change the branding on structures for the Alliance.
In New Eden. Corporations are the very core of the social contract of EVE, and we wanted to take the first step in enabling them to better express their visual identity, both for themselves and for all others to see. This is a journey.
That better be called Kyber Red. Hold on, what do they call it? They don't have it there.
Visual identity, both for themselves and for all others to see. This is a journey we started with a Uprising expansion last year when we introduced a new currency, Evermarks, giving players the ability to place emblems on the ships. And in the Viridian expansion, we're going to open up to corporations. In Skinner, brand managers will begin their customization journey by selecting which of the 11 standard Upwell structures they want to base their design on. And then they will proceed to selecting combination of nanocodes they will apply to various areas of the structure. There will be a quite large library of nanocodes.
I think it just says Crimson. I'm very disappointed.
To choose from, so all corporations should be able to find a scheme that fits their identity. And when creating...
Okay, so just to clarify, basically what it is that each structure has 3 colors. The primary color, the secondary color, and the detailing. This is actually the same as ships, too, which we'll talk a little bit about later.
Getting a nano coating design, brand managers will always be able to check out how it looks on any of the different structure types, because these designs will be applicable to any or all of them. Once they're happy with the design they've made, all they have to do is proceed to the application, which is pretty straightforward. They will just be able to select which of their corporation-owned structures they want to apply this nano-coated design to, and pick a duration if they want to have it for 30, 90 days.
Okay, so here is the big controversial part, okay? One, these skins take Evermarks, which is what we would expect. But two, and this is the controversial part, if you notice, there is no permanent change. All structure skinning, because it's not actually skins, it's just skinning, will cost Evermarks and will be limited time. You can either do it for 30, 90, or 100 days, which I'm pretty sure they said that if it's a longer period of time, obviously it's more efficient for Evermarks. So we can see, we can see here, hold on a second. I'm actually really confused by this picture now, but I'm looking at it. Let me double check to make sure I've got like maximum resolution. Oh, that didn't help at all. He's doing it to one Astrahuus. Oh, he's got an Evermark balance of 9 million. That's what it is. I was like, okay, so for 30 days for a single Astrahuus with skin costs 100,000 Evermarks. By contrast, the Convocation of Empyrean's main corporation, Malro, which has had lots of people doing Evermarks since they came out last year, has just under 4 million Evermarks. So if we were to want to skin all of our ships' structures, we would not be able to do it indefinitely. That's basically what this means. Not without a concerted effort. Now, as we saw in the video, the price for keep stars is significantly more expensive. Yes, we'll get a Shadow War update.
And then just press a button, and this will be paid for with corporation Evermarks. And as soon as the purchase is complete, the designs will start being applied to the structures in space for everybody to enjoy. Once a nano-coating design is applied to a structure, it can't be edited or removed on a whim, because this is something that represents your corporation. This is your branding. It is something you have to commit to. Corporation CEOs, directors, and any member with a brand manager role will be able to access Skinner through the Neo.
They did. So he just said that they can't really be changed on a whim, but they actually corrected this, I think, on the stream, which is that you could apply a new one, but basically it just throws away the old one. So whatever Evermarks you paid for is just gone. Don't do that.
Neocom, and this will also grant them like the ability to spend corporation Evermarks. Structures are among the most valuable assets a corporation can have, and some of them are a place people call home, or a safe haven to just relax and socialize, or buzzing industrial hub, or like a beachhead in a gruesome war that's used as a staging point. And no matter what these structures are used for, they should definitely display their corporation colors, and we want to really foster this strong sensation of belonging and the pride when you see your home with your colors, and also this.
When they were showing it in the stream, though, it showed a list of the Astrahuses, and he chose which Astrahuses he wanted it to be applied to. So I don't think that's true. I think that it's actually per structure.
The other side of the coin, where you blow up their structures with their colors, and I think that's amazing. One of our main challenges was figuring out what was the best fit for the first leg of the journey for corporations. And there were so many interesting discussions about what to select and how many shades of pink we should have. And in the end, we're very happy with the result and what we've got going out with the Viridian expansion. And I'm just so...
Can we say that we have never had a more clear demonstration that gone are the days of grim dark, there's no pink in EVE, and hello to EVE Online, the cyberpunk dystopia.
So excited for the future.
That was it. Okay. So let's keep going. Eve's journey into heraldry started in 2022 with the EVE Online Uprising expansion, allowing Capsulators to display corporation logos, blah, 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 blah. Structures are among the most valuable asset. A lot of this stuff is just going to go over the same stuff that we just heard in the video. It'll foster a sense of belonging to a corporation, a feeling of pride when players see their majestic structure displaying their corporation colors, as well as fueling the desire to remove that of their enemies from the war zone. The principles of Skinner, as mentioned above, Viridian expansion opens up heraldry, blah, blah, blah. Supercurrent-induced nanocoding resequencer of Skinner will be introduced. This new tool will allow corporations to visually customize their upwell structures. To use Skinner, each corporation will have to assign a new brand manager role. In-client Skinner will be accessible from the Neocom or for CEOs, directors, and any corp members for the brand manager role. Grant full access to Skinner and the ability to spend corporation evermarks. In Skinner, brand managers will start to customize their journey by choosing which structure to base their design from any of the 11 standard upwelled structures, then create and apply custom nanocoding designs to their corporation upwell structures in exchange for evermarks that corps have been acquiring through player contributions since the release of Uprising last year. Nanocoding designs will be created by choosing a combination of nanocodings to apply to different areas of the structure. There'll be over 90 nanocodings to choose from at launch, so corporations shall be able to find a combination of all that will fit in their branding. I do find it really interesting. So they've got like a lot of the primary colors, and they've got matte, glossy, and I think metallic, whatever, versions of all three colors. But I find it really interesting that like they don't have any of the specialty designs that you see in a lot of the corp skins in Eve, like for instance, Kalakiota or Sugavesta or one of those Ishikone. None of them or Thucker. These are more complex than a single color skin. None of them are applicable. If I want to make sure I have a Thucker if I want to make my Fortizar into a Thucker Fortizar because I'm role-playing Thucker or something like that, can't do it. Have to just make it tan or something. Once the brand manager is satisfied with the design, they may proceed to a straightforward application process that will simply choose which of the corporation-owned structures they want to purchase a nanocoding-induced license for and how long. There'll be choice of 30, 90, and 180. Oh, 180, not 100. That makes more sense. And then pay using corporation evermarks. Once the purchase is complete, nanocoding designs are then automatically applied to the selected structures for all corp members to enjoy. When applied to a structure, a nanocoding design cannot immediately be edited or removed for now. This is important. The nanocoding will represent the corporation's branding, blah, blah, blah. However, it will be possible to change the nanocoding after the 30, 90, or 100-day period that it was originally purchased for, or to override the existing design with a new one by way of a new license if you should wish. There you go. More examples of it. Almost everything in EVE Online is in the hands of the players to build and shape a majority of the universe, with the exception of the appearance of their ships and structures. Viridian represents the first step within the heraldry journey for corporations, giving them more control to decide how their structures are going to look. They'll decide which colors go where and which combination, empowering them to further express the visual identity in New Eden. Okay. And then they say that there will be a new dev blog next week. But they don't say what. Okay. Now then, that is the dev blog. Now let me take a step back, close my eyes, get my headache to go away, and we can talk about the details of this whole thing. Oh, all right. Should have made more coffee. Anywho, maybe wine. Shouldn't gotten alcohol. That's what today should have taken. All right. Why renew it? Well, first and foremost, I believe that they have a concern. So, like, this is the same thing that they did when it came to volatile skins, right? The idea of not the original volatile skins, the one that died at loss, but like there are 30-day skins and there are 90-day skins and stuff like that available that nobody has. Like you can get skins for the Garistas in the Besieged Covert Research Facilities that will give you a skin for 30 days. Now, the reason why they did this is because the fear is that if the skins are permanent, then then the people who are interested in it will just buy it, and then they'll have it, and then the demand will go away, right? So these skins that drop in these sites are continuously available. They're always dropping new ones, which means the consumers need to be renewed. So if you wanted to have one of these skins, you'd have to buy one every 30 days. Now, I'm going to guess that a very large percentage of you didn't even know that these skins existed. And I guarantee you that the vast majority of you have never used one of these skins, especially the ones that were actually sold, gotten in game and not just given to you as part of the login reward back in the old login reward days. And the reason why is because who is going to, it's about solving your problem, right? When I buy a skin, I just know I have this skin now. Now, anytime I need a Vexer, I have a skin for that Vexer. It's done. That is the value of the skin. So if it only lasts for 30 days, it's like, how am I going to go out of my way to ensure that my Cormorant has a Garistus skin if no one's going to be able to see it on a kill mail? No one's going to be able to see it unless they look at it closely, and it dies after 30 days, and I'm just going to have to buy a new one, right? It's like the worst kind of insurance. And as a result, nobody uses it. And, unlike other Nobies and everybody's in EVE, I am pretty confident to say that the percentage of people that use those skins are so statistically insignificant that saying no one uses it is as accurate as it needs to be. Okay, I'm confident with that. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but they better be from CACP and they better come with diagrams. I've got a couple stacks of the Thrasher and Cyclone Thucker skins exactly because they're limited duration. Okay, fine. There's one dude. We found the guy. We found the guy that stockpiled the temporary skins. I'm just kidding. So, but here we have the idea that a branding needs to be renewed. Now, I think that it would be fine, especially if these renewals were automatic. I mean, there's plenty of auto-renewing bills. If you don't pay your auto-renewing for your alliance, your entire alliance evaporates. So the idea that there's a renewing purchase or renewing fee for continuing ongoing branding, at its core, isn't that flagrantly bad. I think that there's two big problems with this. One is the scale of cost. 100,000 Evermarks for a single Astrahus is pretty big. They said that the reason why they did it as temporary is so that way they didn't have to make it be even more expensive. But if you think about the fact that the average person is going to make 2,500 to 4,000 Evermarks per turn-in, and you can only turn in once per day, that's a lot of ventures being turned in to Paragon in order to make this happen. Now, one thing that we haven't seen that they kind of hinted at on the stream is that there's going to be new ways of earning Evermarks as well. And so we're going to have to see how that plays out. But given just how difficult it is to earn Evermarks as it is, I don't see that they'll be like, and now if you kill 5 rats, you get 10,000 Evermarks. Because then why would anyone ever turn in ships, right? They don't want to necessarily make their current method obsolete. And hopefully they don't significantly increase the reward, making everybody feel stupid for participating in the Evermark system prior to this. So the real question is, how are you going to accumulate all of these Evermarks within your corporation? And the temp skins are just so dirt cheap, it just isn't worth it to buy single ones. And I guess that's true. You can you buy a collection and then you just apply them as you go. But so Evermarks are not taxable by corporations. They already are. They duplicate, right? So for every one Evermark I earn as an individual, my corporation also earns an Evermark. Now, that's how Malro has 4 million Evermarks so far. But here's the problem. Our holding corp has 100,000 Evermarks right now. And that's because like one of our directors for the last couple of weeks, like since we heard about this happening, he has personally taken it upon himself to join our holding corp and turn in like every day in order to gain Evermarks because he knew that this problem was going to come. Which brings me to the biggest problem, I think, with the with this current skinning system, which is that the vast majority of these structures, especially the ones in HiSec, are in holding corps, which means the people who are generating the Evermarks are not in the corporation with the structures. Now, this has already been a problem with things like showing off the CEO on the image and all that sort of stuff, but this only makes it worse. Now, one could argue that this is a reason to have your structures inside of your own corp instead of in a holding corp, right? It's good justification. But that seems like a strange excuse, right? Like, rather than making the structures more viable for you, rather than giving a bonus to you using the structure if you live in the corp, if you're in the corp that the structure belongs to make you want to have the corp, we're going to do this strange branding thing, which makes it seem two things. One, it makes it so that we're asking people to make their structures, and more importantly, their people vulnerable in a way that they weren't before. But for what, right? Like, if a corporation leadership decides, like if I go, oh, well, I want Malro structures to be branded as Malro, and so now I'm going to bring those structures into the convocation proper. Well, now the convocation's war deckable, which means that our people are vulnerable to war decks. And the chances of a war deck happening within the next like day or two is extremely high. What do I tell those people? Right? What do I tell those people? Do I tell them, oh, I'm sorry. The reason why there are people camping you and you can't run missions and you can't mine and you can't do anything right now in HiSec because the bad guys are coming was because we wanted our structure to be colored orange and black. Sorry, guys. We're just going to have to put up with this now because this is the only way to have our structures be colored. That's not great when it comes to building a community, right? That's setting up your leadership and your membership to be in conflict with one another, because now your leadership, who has an interest in branding and recognition and the esprit de corps and all that sort of stuff, has a desire to do that. But in order to do that efficiently, they must basically throw their own members under the bus. That's not great. Now, there has been something that they've said that Evermarks can be traded up, right? Like you can turn over your personal Evermarks to a corporation. That's a big ask, given the fact that players have to earn, like I have to do 2 or 3 days of turn in for a single corporation or alliance logo. I need every Evermark I can get. Asking our members to also just donate 100,000 Evermarks per month per structure, is kind of nonsense. So what happens? Where are we going from here? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how things play out and what decisions players make with it. I just don't see this as being a big enough reason to make huge changes for how people are managing their structures. The other funny thing is that the very people that are going to be using this stuff the most, the null blocks that have lots of structures and have the structures that can be skinned, like the Insilibixes and jump bridges and all that sort of stuff, they're the ones that don't have the easy ability to turn in ships to get Evermarks. So there's some of the groups that have the lowest amount of Evermarks for their size, like per capita, than other groups, right? A HiSec corporation is likely to have a lot of Evermarks because, they have a lot of people turning in, but those people aren't likely to have structures. So now you have the currency and the people, or the currency and the need for the currency in two different places. Which brings me to the idea of the Evermark economy, which what they kept mentioning in the stream, which blew my mind. Yeah, they said that there would be new ways to earn Evermarks, but my point was that like those ways are going to have to compete and be and not outcompete the one that already exists, right? So they can't be that much better. So, but my point is that all of the built up Evermarks, the vast majority of it will be in groups that don't have anything to spend it on, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of corporations that have Evermarks, and there's going to be a lot of null blocks and holding corporations that don't have enough to use them to the extent that they would like to. So that's a mess in and of itself. But also, so like, this goes into the big misconception, number one, that I wanted to go over today, which is that all I see from people in chat was this idea that this is evidence that they're going to sell Evermarks for cash. Look, everybody timestamp this, clip it, whatever. Throw it in my face in 6 months if that's what it takes. That's fine. As far as everything I know, that idea is ludicrous. Okay? And this is why. This is why. Think about it this way. Why have a new currency at all? If the goal was to have Evermarks be something that could be bought with cash, why not have it be Plex? Why not have it be something that Plex can just be turned into, you know, or something like that? The reason why is because the entire point of the heraldry system and the reason why we have Evermarks is because they wanted to create something that was incomparable, right? Right now, when I turn in a Cormorant, because I'm thinking about a Cormorant, or I think it's a Coercer this morning, whatever, either way. When I turn in a ship to the Evermark to get Evermarks, I get a certain amount of Evermarks for that ship. I could have gotten ISK for that ship. I could have sold that ship for ISK. I know this because I bought that ship for ISK, right? So I made the decision myself that those Evermarks was worth that ISK to me. But there's nothing that definitively pins the value of Evermarks to the value of ISK. There's no way to turn it around. Nothing from Evermarks can be sold for ISK. It is a one-way idea. You earn Evermarks or you earn ISK. I build a Cormorant. I can sell that Cormorant for ISK. I can give that Cormorant away for Evermarks. These are non-comparable actions. All right? There is no actual ISK value per Evermark. As soon as you make Evermarks purchasable for cash, Plex is also purchasable for cash. ISK is purchasable with Plex. Now you would have a locked-in value. Not a locked-in, but, you know, a pegged value between ISK, Plex, and Evermarks. And I believe that given what CCP does want to do with Evermarks, that is the last thing that they want. They want it to be an incomparable thing. You can't just buy your way into Evermarks. That's the whole point, because it's the design of this is to encourage people to get out there and do things in the game. The first thing that they asked us to do was to work with industries, so turning in different ships. And they've said that they're going to do other rewards. We've also had the login rewards, including the last one that we just did with it. So what next? Evermarks are part of crypto? Actually, so the dark rumor is that Evermarks were originally going to be attached to crypto. Like that was when they were first fiddling with these ideas, there was some relationship between the Evermarks and the pay-to-earn model. And so when they made the decision that it wasn't for Tranquility, that idea got scrapped, which is, so the rumor goes, that is why Evermarks is the reason why it is now. In other words, like kind of still like half-assed, like it was designed to be part of this whole, like, we get to sell ships and Evermarks and all that stuff. But then, like, it's kind of come out in this, like, thin, like, why do we even turn in these ships and all that sort of stuff? The reason why is because it had a deeper purpose, but that deeper purpose was removed. So yeah, no, I mean, like, there is absolutely that, but we are where we're at now. So they've stripped out the crypto stuff from it. So now it's just a way for them to encourage activity in the game, which is fine. No, there aren't any design patterns in design. That's one of the things I was talking about. I have more Evermarks, but in classic style. I forgot I hadn't logged in the Omega track. There you go. It also explains why FanFest was so empty. It was supposed to be about the Evermark crypto, but that thing that wasn't really a thing anymore. Yeah, I mean, like you could tell that there was a real quick readjustment. But honestly, like let's be frank, that's good, right? Like that means that we dodged the bullet, hopefully. At least that bullet. So there's that. So let's hope that things remain the way they are. Evermarks does do a really good job of... Hey, SpoonS! Evermarks does do a really good job of potentially encouraging activity and creating something of value for you doing something in-game that cannot be quantified in ISK, and more importantly, cannot be replaced by ISK, right? Everything in the game, almost everything in the game can be replaced by ISK, right? Do you want to grind standings or do you want to pay ISK? Do you want to build a ship or do you want to pay ISK? Do you want to whatever? Well, now, do you want Evermarks? Turn in your ships. You can buy the ships. That's how you can turn in ISK, but you gotta go to an Evermark station. You gotta turn it in every day. What we need is an LP to Evermark exchange. I think that corporations should be able to sell Evermarks to other corporations potentially, maybe. But I don't know. I think that it'd be better for us to I don't know how to fix the problem with the holding corp situation. However, I think that this gets even darker, or this gets even more complicated one step down, which is I'm going to talk about after this break. I'm going to go get some water. I've been talking a lot real fast. Kitty says, like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, she does not like to be held. Hi. Okay. That's cat for like the stream. All right. Let me turn this down a little bit. Sounds like looks like I'm peaking a little bit. Hey, SpoonS must confuse the restaurants, man. That all Empyreans target the primary like, but yeah. 07, Danny. It's just the beginning. They could add patterns later, which could give so much more customization. Yeah, and also like I said, the atmosphere, the clouds, the other effects around it, lighting, all that kind of stuff. They can definitely add more to this, and it sounds to me like they're interested in doing so. But I think that the bigger thing here is, so like for the last several years, I've been talking about the fact that CCP needs to make the ability for players to brand their own skins. So picture this for a second. What if you could pay something like 2,000 plex, right? A lot of money, right? 2,000 plex, but what you get is effectively a BPO, and you can design your own skin. Very basic stuff. And now that we have this, we could even imagine this interface, right? So you've got your primary skin, your primary color, secondary color, secondary color, and detailed color, right? You can set those up, you can select them, you can lock them in, and that gives you a skin. You can then print this skin BPO off and give it to people or sell them on the market to allow them to apply it for themselves. Alternatively, you could set up a corporation skin that then gets broadcasted out to everyone who's in the corporation. So that way, if they leave the corporation, they lose access to the skins. So the cool thing about this is that even if somebody does decide to do something super inappropriate with it, they've already paid their money. And all you have to do is pull the skin if it's bad. And now they're just out the money. Ha ha ha. Good job. Way to troll everybody. You made a bright pink penis skin that lasted 2 days. I'm glad it was worth it to you, right? Yeah, really high monetize time to penis. That's what I'm telling you guys, right? Let everybody think it's hilarious and spend, what is it? 2,000 plex is 4, so like 80, 90 bucks almost, probably. To do a troll and have it last for like a week and then it goes away, right? Like, done. Who cares? How about a dread armed with paint guns? Oh my god, I love the idea of a dread that just forcibly skins other ships. That's a great idea. Anywho, but the point of the matter here is that what we have here is a UI that is absolutely available for ships, right? And I even think that T2P efficiency level 5. That's right. What do I have against penises? I have nothing against. Oh man. No. The beginning of Pride Month. We're moving on. Make all weapons change target skins. There you go. All polarized guns turn your ship pink. So, no, but I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. One of the things that I've postulated about why CCP started out with just the logos and why they've only done logos for Paragon so far is because I think that they lack the UI to display these things in the store, right? Are they temporary? Which ones? These, the structure skins are temporary, yes. Or at least the application of them are temporary. So, that's actually a really cool idea to be able to paint the eggs. Ah! Stop it, guys. Stop it. Rein it in. All right. I'm so disappointed in all of you. I don't know. Whatever. I had something that we said. I said something I was going to say. Are there copyright issues with player generated assets? Oh, wait, assets? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they allow you to just choose the colors, there's only so much damage you can do, right? As it is, there's already going to be the ability to like make the Hello Kitty skin, which absolutely needs to exist, just so that we all know. The ability to spray graffiti on enemy structures is pretty amazing. Like, just go ahead and tag them. I like it. I like the idea that you could hack, like you could go and offensively hack a structure and change its skin. So you could like sneak into 1DQ one night and like turn all of the structures pink one morning. And then they'll have to go through and like fix them all with Entosis links or whatever. Ah, this is brilliant. I'd like to graffiti a squid structure. Hell yeah. Yeah, hackable skin changes. That's right. Exactly. That's what we need. I want more players to troll each other. But no, I think that what we're seeing here is the development of those UI tools. So I think that this will only make it easier for them to show more things in heraldry. Like one of the or in whatever. Like there's a lot of particle effects that can't be seen in the previewer. Most of the time because they are related to something about the ship itself, like its speed or whatever. But there's a lot of effects that you can't see in the preview. And if you buy a corporation logo sight unseen, what's the worst that can happen? You'd be disappointed in where it's placed or how big the logo is, but you know what it looks like. But if they sell you a snake hat and you can't see what it looks like ahead of time, and then you buy it, you could just say like, "Oh man, this sucks. I didn't want it." And now you bought something with like days of effort. They can't do that. So they have to have a good, robust ship previewer that has these new tools built into it before they can sell those more expensive or those more out there kind of ideas. So yes, Comey, we've all been over the time limit. No, I think that the thing about the time limit is that it's really going to factor in with how fast Evermarks get generated versus how much the skins are going to be needed, right? Like, as I said, even if all of Malro structures were in Malro, we still would not be able to skin all of our structures indefinitely. We would burn through Evermarks faster than we earn them. But our structures aren't in Malro. Our structures are in our holding corp. Hey, Tim, thank you for that. 07 joining as a member. That's right. You too can join a member for just $1 a month. Get access to all of my videos early, in theory. And you get emotes and other cool stuff like that. And into the supporter channel in Discord where I talk to people and get advice and feedback and all that nonsense. By the way, just as a little bit of a personal news stuff, my son got really sick for 2 days. He was throwing up a lot. This happens to him. We think it's probably related to his migraines, so don't be too worried about it. He recovered just fine. But it did mean that I wasn't able to do very much stuff. And even before that, I was having, I guess we could just go with like a bad mental health time. Like I was just particularly bad at like bringing myself to do work. But yesterday I finally got started on my editing. So I've made it about halfway through editing the Yeet exploration video. To put things into perspective, I got to the part in the video where I say that I'm an hour and 15 minutes into the stream. And at that point, I was 27 minutes worth of content left. So out of the first hour and a half or so, I cut 40 minutes out of it. Out of the first like hour and 20 minutes. So, and I might even go back through and cut it even further because I'm really trying to tighten it down to make it so that it gives all of the correct, just the information. No Man's Sky stream when? I already did a No Man's Sky stream. It was pretty fun. We might do it again. But the No Man's Sky update today was even more disappointing than Eve's. No, the No Man's Sky update, which we've been waiting for like the last week, was that there's a Mac client, which I'm perfectly happy for Mac to be able to get a client. But I mean, it doesn't add any new content for me. There's nothing to show off. You should be able to find the No Man's Sky stream on my history. I might be able to find it for you. Hit me up if you need me to help you find it. But I'll probably do it again. I mostly just showed off like my area and stuff like that. I think that next time that there's an expedition, I might just do the expedition on stream. Seems like they could fix things like the Trig LP store instead of art. What's wrong with the Trig LP store? You mean the fact that there are things that are unobtainable in the Trig LP store? Stating that they need to fix it is implying that there's something broken with it. Just feeling that you do something that you feel good about just helps. Just like many things can help. I did that this time, just make myself do things. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, that's a struggle with ADHD, especially since my medication got changed and it's been weird. I now have a new medication, so we're going to try it because I had to change from Adderall to Ritalin, and that like just didn't work as well. So now I'm on a different kind to see if that works better. But I don't like making a ton of excuses. I'm going to be working hard. Be brave, everyone, and fly safe. 07. Hey Tim, did you see that your official new color is pink? No. During the live stream, they're like, whose alliance should we skin this for? And Brave got everyone, like a lot of people said Brave, so they're like, okay, we're going to do Brave, and then they skinned it completely pink. Like, what a troll. Yeah, I was on Ritalin a lot as a kid too, which is probably, like, in my opinion, probably one of the reasons why I didn't have a great reaction to it. Use my words carefully. Well, I'm just saying that, like, just because things are not available, just because there are things on the Trig LP store that cannot be purchased because the things don't drop, doesn't inherently imply that that's a problem. It just means that it's something that hasn't been unlocked yet. Now, if they forget about it, that could be a problem. So, I think that the bottom line is that while this is in fact station skinning, which is exactly what we've been like asking for a couple of years, it is exciting. It obviously isn't like the reason to fall over yourself and get super thrilled for the entire expansion. I think that the Lance 07, thanks for that, Birdie. I think that the Lancer Dreadnoughts is obviously a more of a showcase feature, tentpole feature, whatever you want to call it. What I find really interesting before we move on from this completely is at the very bottom they say, be sure to check out another Viridian in Focus article next week. The reason why I find that interesting is because last week they said, be sure to check out another Viridian Focus article next week on Upwell structure customization for corporations, right? And the week before that, they put in as for no what as well as another Viridian in Focus article next week on Tech 2 Dreadnoughts. So each week they have told us what the next week's dev blog is going to be until today. Now, I don't want to get too hyped up or whatever, but that implies something to me. Like, there are a lot of things. We have the new projects that people are supposed to be able to do, the new industry tools that may or may not come. And we have home fronts, which were hinted at, excuse me, these home front things that were hinted at, home front operations that were hinted at in the art panel, but never elaborated on. So we still have a lot to hear about in Viridian that we haven't heard from yet. And so I don't know what it is, or they haven't a lot of nothing. But like I said, we know that they have things. We just don't know what it's going to be. Okay? I just find it very interesting. So, with all that said, let's get to the New Eden news. Because as Marcus points out, honestly, that's the more interesting thing for the day. Let's put this away. They're not going to sell Evermarks for cash. It is going to be a temporary thing that you're going to have to renew. There is going to potentially be a problem with Holding Corps. It's still pretty cool. That's fine. Structure skinning is coming. Let's talk about the really exciting thing. We had a New Eden news 2 days ago, or a few days ago, which I read live on the stream last time, because in the middle of the stream it came out, so we read it real quickly. I was wondering what new project available pop up on their client during live stream. Oh, good catch, Nixie. All right. Ready? Let's go ahead and start the stream over so that way we can cut it here real quick. Hold on. Not actually start the stream over, but you know what I mean. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and this is your New Eden news for June... Wait, hold on. January, February, March, April, May. God damn, I do this every time. Let's do this again. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is May. Damn it. You know what? Fuck it. New Eden News. Caldari mega corporations recall extraterritorial workers as new done. Midnight says, like the stream. Have pity. Have pity. Like the stream. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. This is what you're here for. Aww. Yeah. Look over here. Look at them, guy. Don't look at me. All right. Looks cute. Hey, now. All right. I'll be right back. Okay. Woo. I see him. You came in at the perfect time. Exactly. Yes, that is true. All right, let's try this one more time, shall we? That's a big guinea pig. He's getting big. All of your likes, comments, and subscribes definitely feed those guinea pigs. So keep it up, guys. I really appreciate it. F it, we'll do it live. When in doubt, get the guinea pigs out. Exactly. They're like my shield, my defense. Have a guinea pig. All right. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and this is the New Eden News for May 31st, YC125. Caldari megacorporations recall extraterritorial workers as rationing comes into effect. New Caldari Prime. Following an agreement reached at yesterday's meeting of the Chief Executive Panel, the Big 8 megacorporations of the Caldari state have all ordered wide-scale repatriation of workers sent to extraterritorial stations and planetary habitats earlier today. The orders called for the reassignment to home territories of a significant number of non-essential workers with Caldari citizenship. This mass worker recall coincides with the signing of ration sealing agreement by all eight members of the CEP. This agreement introduces maximum limits on the purchasing of a wide variety of goods, both essential and luxury commodities. These limits have been defined relative to an employee's corporate classification. The new limits will be enforced by standard corporate oversight of personnel corporate script accounts, with all transactions being monitored and blocked should they exceed the ration ceilings. The combination of mass labor repatriation with the expansion of rationing has many questioning the state of the Caldari economy. The Caldari state has boasted one of the New Eden's strongest economies, but was hit hardest by the Triglavian invasions. Market analysis suspicious of their recent changes have been quick to point out that the state's economy has generally been heavily reliant on foreign trade, with a higher proportion of the trade being conducted outside of its borders than by any other interstellar nation. Some theorize that the state may be starting to feel an economic pinch due to the heightened conflict with the Gallente Federation, rising tensions within the Amar Empire, and relatively low trade activity from recently opened Mimitar markets. Chairman Akimaka Saraki dismissed these fears at a press summit of the new Caldari Prime, stating that, quote, the Caldari state is stronger now than it has ever been. As first in the cluster to finalize the construction of the interstellar shipcaster, we have shown ourselves to be masters of cutting-edge stellar transmuter and transport relay technology. These new measures have been implemented because we Caldari will do whatever it takes to ensure victory and prosperity. We call our citizens home so that they may join us to fight and strengthen the state. We bear the burden of rationing because we do not fear sacrifice. Let the people of the Federation grow complacent and fat. We shall see who endures the trials to come. End quote. Despite Chairman Saraki's strong words, there are growing rumors of unrest among lower level workers. The classification banding, including the ration ceiling agreement, means that such citizens are under the tightest of new restrictions. Many repatriated workers are leaving behind their families only to suffer greater state restrictions. Lower classification citizens are also more likely to be reassigned to security services or conscripted into state military. Clearly aware of such concerns, the CEP chairman tackled them head on, saying, quote, all Caldari understand the value of honor, loyalty, and duty. Only shirkers and traitors would refuse to do their part when called to service. Okay. This is exciting, isn't it? Like, what is happening? So the Caldari state has had some economic woes recently, especially after the Triglavian invasion. There was increasing unrest within the state, leading to massive amounts of protests and rioting, which led to big crackdowns and the Guristas exposing the ne'er-do-well efforts of some of the mega corporations, including especially the Forest faction, which is Lidai, CBD, and NOH. You know, all of that was really bad, and Chairman Akimaka Saraki coming to power really helped tamper that down, right? He was very much like a popular war hero because he helped defend. He was the head of the defense for what is the system? Samanuni, the Samanuni defenses within during the incursions or invasions rather. However, I've been saying this for a while that Saraki has had a little bit of the whole like fasci style, Tibus Heth vibe to him. Not necessarily quite as like man of the people working blue collarness that Tibus Heth had. But the thing is this. The state, whenever it deals with economic woes, it really that's when it dabbles with authoritarianism. So this is a huge warning flag that something is about to happen. Now, why would they bring people back? It could be that they're afraid of counteracts. You know, if the state's about to do something that's highly controversial, they're not going to want their people all out in the middle of nowhere, you know, to be, you know, if suddenly they do something that the Gallente don't like and the Gallente start arresting all of the Caldari citizens, they're going to want as few Caldari citizens in harm's way as possible. But at the same time, the Caldari kind of quietly a couple of years ago militarized their entire citizenry. So this could very well be them kind of pulling together all of their resources so that way they can force them to act together. So we're just going to have to see where this goes. Concord Inner Circle weighs changes to New Eden economic system as state announces new measures. Ulai Genesis. Ongoing negotiations on interstellar economic technology and infrastructure regulations within Concord's Inner Circle has been dramatically shaken up by the Caldari state's announcement of new domestic rationing, financial monitoring, and worker repatriation measures. While the state has been strongly arguing for further liberalization of the interstellar trade and significant changes to empire taxation and SEC regulatory overheads, the recall of a large number of employees, together with increased megacorporation controls and monitoring of consumption and expenditures, has caused some disquiet among the delegates of the big four empires. The Gallente Federation in particular has indicated its concerns that a move are a prelude to a more protectionist stance by the state, despite its pursuit of open markets for its own good and services, or an attempt to unbalance the financial system by directing capital flow and investments disproportionately towards Caldari internal markets and industries. The Caldari state negotiators have dismissed these fears as, quote, misplaced attempts to reopen arguments already settled at the summit. In contrast, the Amar Empire has seized the opportunity to improve its strained relations with the state by declaring that it views the Caldari measures as, quote, matters of internal economic organization and social reform, end quote. Despite the end of its former military alliance with the state, the Greater Amar Empire has maintained considerable trade links with the Caldari megacorporations, in particular using its Khana Kingdom and Amatar Mandate vassal states to increase flows of exchange between the two powers. So far, the Amatar Republic's delegation has preferred to keep its own counsel on the Caldari announcement, at least in private, and it's concerning it and is concentrating on its developing its own approach, reforming the SEC taxes and overhauling the regulations in private. Regulations and fees levied on capsular structures. Many agreements have been found between the Caldari and Mimitar on the topic of Upwell Consortium's preferential status as a provider of industrial services. Both empires view the dominant position of Interstellar Consortium with deep suspicion since the events of the Triglavian invasions, its role in arming and funding of Edencom, and the spate of industrial espionage scandals in recent years. While the Amar Empire is noted for having ambiguous relations with Upwell and Edencom, it has found common cause with the Gallente Federation's wish to normalize the structure of industrial fees and taxes, and it appears that some kind of deal on the overall industrial support services, taxation, and licensing regimen will be forged between the big four empires. Negotiations are ongoing, and the precise package of economic and technology regulations to come is expected within the next 2 weeks. Okay, guys, consider this your shot across the bow. Okay? The empires are unhappy with Upwell Consortium's preferential status on industrial services. This could mean one of several things. It could mean that Upwell structure taxes and fees are going to go up. It could mean that services rendered inside of NPC structures could begin to rival Upwell structures under the correct conditions. Or this could mean that the empires are getting ready to develop and release their new mooring platforms that were shown off last year at FanFest. Any of those three or more could be what this is directing towards. But mark my words, this incredibly boring set of paragraphs are likely to be directly tied to some pretty significant changes coming in Viridian. News in brief. Kentucky Assembly parties close to deal for social autonomous bloc to form new administration. We're going to come back to this and look at it even more closely when we get done with this. Concord AG12 Technology Sharing Audit and Inspection Office renews capital component efficiency developments. Chances are this is like they've been meaning to make capitals cheaper again. So this is going to be part of the whole thing. They're going to potentially capital parts are going to be cheaper to build after Viridian. New Unified Response Act moves out of committee towards full Senate battle with support of President's allies. This one feels very ominous, right? Like the big problem right now within the Federation is that the Federation's broken in the middle. There's the Intaki situation, right? So you have those that are pro Intaki being part of the Gallente, pro Intaki being completely independent, or whatever, some combination of the two. But the idea of a United Response Act implies to me that they're going to force Intaki to be part of this united response to something else, whether that be the current political shiftings, the Caldari state's annexing of Solitude, whatever it happens to be. This United Response Act and the fact that it is being promoted by the president's allies really does imply that the Federation's going to do something that basically pulls Intaki along with it. Could be related to Lancer stuff. We'll get to the Lancer stuff in a second, because that actually shows up. Caldari State Customs confirm relaxation on repatriated citizens' transfers of property and funds back to the state. Republic Security Services in Sunzale on Matar confirm elimination of foreign agents suspected of preparing terror attacks. There was the Sunzale 6 that don't remember the whole details about. We might have to look into it. Did I say Solitude? You're right, Syndicate. My bad. Syndicate, not Solitude. If I said Solitude, that was dumb and bad and wrong. Republican Security Services. Yeah. Satogas falls to Tribal Liberation Force as Amar loyalists press Imperial lead in Shipcaster research. Yeah, so like the Empire, the pro-Amar forces have simultaneously lost a lot of ground in the war zone, but also have jumped up in the faction warfare, or sorry, in the Shadow War stuff, which actually we could look at that right now. Hold on, Shadow War. So as an update right here, we can see that the Amar just 2 days ago had one of the larger jumps that we've ever seen outside of the state. And that's after the previous jump that took them above the Mimitar. So the Amar have really started pounding it pretty hard. The Gallente have picked up. Everybody has picked up again. Now that the Caldari are completed and the Gallente now have their own sites, you can really see that the rate in which everybody's accumulating has picked back up again as we get closer and closer to the next group being completed. But the Amar have really, they've been behind this whole time and kind of made fun of for it. But they have really picked up the pace. Upwell Deep Space Survey reports new search program's success in detecting high-yield yttrium asteroids. This could be a big one, too. Those are the AO Blue Star border asteroids, one of the border asteroids. So this is another piece of that puzzle of, like, what is happening to nullsec potentially, what is happening to mix things up within it comes the resources. I don't know what this is exactly going to mean yet, but we're going to see. No anniversary event, less distracted. There's that too. Garissa's pirate carries on out attack on state peacekeeping troops transport and syndicate seizing war clone technology. This is important because we remember the state war clone was found with Triglavian technology built into it, I believe, right? Heavy fighting in Onato as Caldari State Protectorate seeks to prevent FDU extension in Isoma Salient, which let's see. Was it Onato? No, Adama. Odama fell yesterday to the Gallente. So it looks like the Gallente are very much still holding their own, and they're pushing all 4 fronts, which is really spreading the state thin. Oops. Heavy fight. Yeah. Senior derail commander briefs journalists on deep concerns over federal industrial automation proposals. Industrial automation proposals could be interesting since we see an industry update coming, potentially, but also Derail is the anti-AI division of Concord. Most recently, oh, did we flip Onato? Was it Onato? Oh, my bad. Wait, did I say it right or not? God damn it. Hold on. Oh, I said Adama. It was Onato. Onato flipped back. Got it. That tracks. That makes more sense, actually. Okay. Names are hard, okay? Odama was last night. Okay, fine. Great. Okay, I wasn't wrong. Whatever. New Eden Foundation for Industrial Colony Science reports breakthrough in materials compression. The chances that compression is coming to to NPC stations bet more is extremely high. Okay? That's basically what I read this to be. Angel Cartel and Thucker Renegade clans reported sharing secret navigation and spatial anomaly datasets. What do we think when we hear Angel Cartel and Thucker, could it be Deathless? Could it be Guri Malakan? Could it be a combination of the two? We're going to have to find out. Concord AG12's office calls in Conid military representatives following rumor of advanced dreadnought testing. There you go. That's the Lancer dreadnoughts. Because in the latest world news before the or New Eden news before this, we see Royal Conid Navy reportedly used experimental weapon to destroy Blood Raider cult base. So there you go. Samatar Malati Shakur returns to Great Caravanserai following tour of Mikramurka and talks with Sebastor clan. Federal Defense Union forces relieve Ardrone as fighting in Placid region continues on two fronts. Imperial forces reported destroying Triglavian raiding party on surface of Madrun 5 with orbital bombardment. What's interesting about this is that, like, so the connection between the Amar, the Triglavians, and the Sancha in and around Stain continues to be suspicious. We'll just put it that way. And that's it for today's New Eden news, which is actually yesterday's New Eden news, if you're watching this live, which was for May 31st, YC125. I have been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden, and next we will be going into some of our analysis and review. But if you're watching this live, but otherwise, if you're watching this as an edited video, chances are we're going to cut this off here and have the analysis, the deeper analysis, be a different video. So if that's the case, thank you guys for watching. Thank you to all of my sponsors whose names are down below. And until next time, I've been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in space. Did the sign. All right. Yeah, Madrun is right next to the Stain Gate. Okay. So, there's two things to kind of peek into here, okay? We have the ongoing arc, and then we have this whole Intaki situation, okay? So, as far as the arc goes, the interesting thing that was brought to my attention, I watched Mike Azariah did a really good breakdown of the fish. Mike Azariah did a really good breakdown of the minutes, the CSM minutes, and even gave me a little bit of a shout out when talking about how much nobody cares about the lore, which, I mean, I think that everybody needs to go. I need all of you guys. Somebody, hold on. Actually, now that I think about it, let's do this. Let's make this happen. I don't know if I spelled that right. Eve. Oh no. Wait. Yes.
Go. That's where I'm going to actually start the recording, right about here. So, the CSM is...
So this is Mike Azariah. For those of you who do not know, he is or was on the CSM. Is he on the CSM now? Can't remember. Somebody tell me if he's on the CSM at the moment or not. I think he is. Either way, he is a super good dude. He runs the bus where he brings free ships to New Bros and all that stuff. And he did a great analysis of the CSM minutes. And in it, he gives me a shout out when talking about how much nobody cares about the lore. So I need you all to do me a good big favor. Don't be mean to him. He's one of my favorite people in the whole world. But if you could go to his video and let him know that you care about the lore, that would be amazing. Just be like, hey, Ash wanted me to let you know I care about the lore. That's it. That's all you have to say. Just comment and like his video. See, like this, right? Ready? Like and be like, just so you know, I am into the lore. Heart. Boom. Make it happen, guys. Make this guy's video. Also, make sure to subscribe to his channel while you're here, too, because Mike is a great dude. Let's get him to make more content, guys. Okay. Please start putting that funny bad takes at the end of the video, like a blooper section. Wait, what? When did I do that? Oh, yeah. I tried it. Yeah, that's a good idea. I have done stuff like that before. That's actually a really good idea. At any rate, I digress. Anywho, what he says in there that I found really interesting was the fact that CCP indicated that they are about to come to the end of the first arc. Okay, so these narrative arcs that started last year at FanFest, they said that they were going to start these narrative arcs. When was FanFest last year? On EVE Online FanFest 2022. April 27th. So a little over a year ago, CCP sat on, oh, was it May? So yeah, about a year ago. Yeah, May 6th. So basically exactly a year ago, CCP went on stage and told us that narrative arcs are going to be the big thing and that the first arc has already started. This was when the Deathless was first making his appearance and we were doing the whole like cops versus robbers event. And the question that I had then and continue to have was, how long? What is the scale of these arcs, right? Is this a month thing? Is this an expansion thing? Is this a 3-month thing? Is this a quarter thing? Like, what is the scope of these arcs? Because that's really going to help us understand what is happening, right? If these are short arcs, then they're probably smaller things. If they're bigger arcs, then they probably are leading to bigger things, if that makes sense. Or like a more complex thing coming together. So what he said is that the first arc is coming to a close. So what that tells me is that Viridian and this time period is going to be the end of the arc that started in the beginning of last year. Okay. So that's going to be important. And this is another reason why I think that the Deathless and the pirate factions and that sort of stuff is going to be a big highlight and a big piece of this whole Viridian expansion. Because that really would be this whole thing coming full circle, right? So with that said, I want to zero in on a particular piece to all of this. Okay? So, shoot, I meant to prepare something that I didn't get to prepare. Hold on. So 6 months ago, this happened.
Broadcasting live with shocking scenes of Federation ships invading Intaki and neighboring systems. This is a major developing situation amidst the current turmoil in New Eden.
My fellow citizens, the time has come for the Federation to rise and liberate Intaki, to recover what is ours. These worlds and the people of
the Caldari state are being slaughtered in this outrageous invasion. We stand ready to confront any aggression against the state.
And the combined military of the Minmatar Republic will repay our enemies in kind for this mass murder. For it is the
sacred obligation of every subject of Holy Amar to reclaim the stars and rise up for your empire.
The system of Intaki, which has been part of the Federation since basically, I think, the founding of the Federation, but it was agreed upon even from the early days to be separate from the Gallente in certain ways, was invaded by a massive Gallente force in order to secure it and take it out of the war zone. It and the constellation adjacent to it and the constellation adjacent to that were removed from the faction warfare war zone and was pulled into the Gallente Federation's main territories. This was highly controversial and led to several other actions, including the Caldari annexing a section of Syndicate. But the future of Intaki has kind of been in the balance for the last 6 months, and arguably you could argue that the future of Intaki has been the story of Uprising. So there's been a lot of development when it comes to the Intaki situation, all the way to this idea: the Intaki Assembly Party's close to deal for social autonomous bloc to form new administration. Let's look into this. I'm actually going to go get more water. It's a good water day. Holy crap. Comments left and like your comment. Excellent. Yeah, I'll give you guys a chance to go make that comment. Eve the movie. There's plenty of good Eve movies that could be made. Hold on. I'm gonna put on the Eve. They just came out with a new trailer too, for the FanFest stuff, and a new song. So I'm gonna put on the new song. This is Crowd Control by CCP's new band, or sorry, this is the song On Top of the World by CCP's new band, Crowd Control. It probably requires a discussion in and of itself, but in the meantime, we're just going to play the song. Sure that's CCP Burger, by the way. That thing's such a good ball. I love him though. All right. Also, while we're on the topic, or while somebody mentioned, and yeah, hold on, actually, one thing at a time. So yes, I do also really like permaban and probably prefer it over this personally. I don't know if that's like just familiarity or whatever. I will say that like I think that that might be the same female singer from the actual like permaban female vocal version, which means that that's a lot of potential. They have a lot of potential within this group. But like there are some people complaining that like, oh, they look so bored or whatever. But like clearly those people have never watched like one of those proper techno Eurovision type songs, because like say what you will about whether or not you like this video, they nailed the aesthetic so hard. It looks like a proper video of this type, right? Like it's a proper song. So, you know, there's that. On the subject though of an Eve movie. On the subject of an Eve movie, we did get an interesting little thing. This is kind of silly, but just bear with me for a second. Rix Javix, who is Evo Ganda, he makes a lot of stuff for Eve. He tweeted yesterday, I love getting emails from Ian about Clear Skies. Hey, Rix, this one is going to be complicated. ... LOL, they all are, but I love it. So Rix Javix, Ian is working right now on Clear Skies 4. And Rix was helping him with stuff. So this video or this image, this tweet is a really interesting indicator that work is still moving quite successfully when it comes to Clear Skies. So that's cool too. But let's jump back into this idea of the Intaki. So we start with this news article. And our job here is that we're going to be keep going through the news over the last couple of since Uprising, focusing exclusively on the politics of Intaki to try to figure out who is gaining control and what these names all mean. Okay, so to start with, there is the invasion. Celis Agard makes the address, all that sort of stuff. Celis Agard's address says, and we've been through all this before, so I'm going to try to breeze through a lot of it sometimes. My fellow citizen, the time has come for the Federation to rise and liberate Intaki, to recover what is ours. These worlds and the people of Intaki, the wider Verret constellation and the Philslippins constellation has long been under the threat of Caldari state occupation and ruthless exploitation by a system of authoritarian corporate rule. This state of affairs have always been intolerable to us, but our great democracy, a beacon of peace and prosperity for all, chose in the past to pursue the path of diplomacy and observance of law that has so often been cast aside by the mega corporations of the Caldari state. We can no longer afford to continue to follow this policy, preferable though it is, wise as it would be under normal circumstances. The long history of the mega corporations' exploitation of the Intaki and the wider Placid region is one thing. Now, though, as we see the tragic events, thanks, David, as we've seen the tragic events of the Turner system, we face the potential of the total devastation of Intaki and many other worlds peopled by our citizens. I judge this a threat far too grave to acquiesce before. With this advice of the Federal Security Council, Military Commission, and leading members of the Senate, I took decision to act. When I was elected to this great office, when I became your president, I promised to place the highest importance on achieving peaceful coexistence with our neighbors and total and unplaceable resistance to those who would destroy our way of life. Sadly, to fulfill this promise, the actions I authorize today are necessary, and if they prove insufficient, you may be assured that this Federation, will act again. Okay. Yeah, it's not authoritarian rule, it's the authoritarian corporate rule that was the problem. Actually, I also want to go back one more time and check out a couple of other videos. Hold on a second. YouTube's. I got 3 videos to show you guys real quick. Maybe. Hold on. What? Weird. Either way. So let's listen. We just listened to what Selazagard was saying now and kind of the tone that she was taking. And we also earlier heard from Akimaka Saraki. So let's match how they're talking now with how they were talking in the videos that they released about the empires.
Hundreds of worlds, billions of people. Our strength is our diversity. Our tolerance lends us unity. But cross us, and you will swiftly find the steel beneath the velvet. Above all, know this, my fellow citizens. Our Federation is the light of liberty, shining in the darkness.
So this idea of like, we're a free people, we want peace and prosperity, but don't force our hand or else we will be harsh to you. Don't make me hurt you. It's a very like theme out of the way that she talks, both in here and in her address to the people after taking Intaki, right? Meanwhile, Akimaka Saraki sounds like this.
Cold wind remembers the darkest of days. When the rains of our world became laced with fire. One warrior's fierce duty seared a path to our future. The ultimate sacrifice made in blood and steel. We remain Caldari, no matter the cost. Everything we are, we owe to our ideas. They fuel our rise as the heart of a raging storm. Beacon of strength and a shrine to our identity. Honor and preserve your family, your corporation, your state. Without hesitation, without remorse.
Okay, so there you have it. Like I said, Akimaka Saraki has that like honor, you know, duty to the corporation, sacrifice. You know, like if we go back to what he said, right? What did he say? He said, the Caldari state is stronger now than it has ever been. As first in the cluster to finalize the construction of the interstellar shipcaster, we have shown ourselves to be masters of cutting-edge stellar transmitter and transport relay technology. These new measures have been implemented because we, Caldari, will do whatever it takes to ensure victory and prosperity. We call our citizens home that they might join us in the fight to strengthen the state. We bear the burden of rationing because we do not fear sacrifice. Let the people of the Federation grow complacent and fat. We shall see who endures the trials to come. So you see, like, these personalities are really, really starting to take shape, right? I think it's actually kind of cool. That was a you don't no Vire, that was a carrier. That was Toby Tavi. Hold on. That was the Shigemoru. No, that wasn't the Shigemoru. That was the God damn it. Which one was it? It was the
One warrior's fierce duty, the ultimate sacrifice, made in steel.
what's his name? Yeah. Kairola. So basically the story is that Tovi Tobel, thank you. So during the first Caldari Gallente war, the Gallente have started orbitally bombarding Caldari state, and the Caldari were frantically trying to defend themselves and get off the planet through the blockade. So a bunch of Caldari military began attacking Gallente Prime, led mostly by this one Admiral Tovi Tobel. And he did skirmish fighting for like a full week, fighting the forces of the Gallente in and around Gallente Prime. And then finally, when his ship was crippled, he crashed his carrier ship, sacrificing himself and killing him and his crew in order to give the Caldari precious time to escape Caldari Prime and get away to what is now New Caldari Prime. So that sacrifice resonates within the Caldari people. They hold it in their heart. Tovi Tobel is the first name every Caldari child learns because of how much pride that they have in it, in his sacrifice and what he did and what their people are like. So that's why this clip is here. It represents the most defining moment in Caldari like cultural history. Yes, CCB has a Caldari bias. Okay, let's not even go there. All right. So next, the seizing an afternoon Stargate. That's fine. Continued developments in the war zone. Federation and Navy entrenches position on Intaki system, Verret and Fislipisnis constellation. I'm never ever going to be able to pronounce that correctly. Intaki Assembly's Permanent Bureau meets with Federal Marines Commanding General on Intaki Prime. Protest Caldari capture, blah, blah, blah. FIO Special Department of Internal Investigations attaches agents to Federal Marines unit on Intaki Prime. Intaki Syndicate sends delegation of Uli. Yeah, that's fine. We know where that goes. Federation Ambassador Devin Melitate in a series of meetings with Royal Heir Hamadeh Kondor and Uli system. Federation militarization of Intaki system questioned by former presidential candidates. Okay, here we go. Former Marturio Mayor Shalin Ramnev, which these are the people that we focused on last time we did this, right? Shalin Ramnev, Suvio Belleron, and we said that Shalin Ramnev and well, you can go back and watch the video for those conclusions, I guess. But like, it seemed like they were going to try to find some sort of moderate position, a little bit. I'm a fan of sushi, hell yeah. But Suvio Belleron is one of the biggest opponents of Celis Agard, and doesn't have her quote here, but there's the other lady, I think it's a lady, who always speaks up against Suvio Belleron. We also have drug laboratories in the Aket Mountains on Intaki Prime, which are related to the Serpentis. Intaki Space Police increases security patrol. Oh, that's a Intaki Syndicate. Then we get nothing there. Nothing there. All right. Intaki autonomy activists and significant minority of the Intaki Assembly members continue to protest the ongoing presence of the Federation military and security forces in the system, in particular on Intaki Prime. There's been considerable disquiet on the planet over the presence of Federation Intelligence Office internal security forces and a number of counterterrorism and anti-sabotage operations of Federation Marines. Intaki and Gallente politicians and protesters in the wider Federation also remain vocal in their opposition to the state emergency and military presence in the Intaki system. Senator Suvio Belleron, representing the federal subdistrict covering the city of Lenoika of Intaki Prime, has continued to be vocal in his opposition of the Intaki system. Senator Farron Shu, that's the guy, the one who's always against Belleron, says the whole federal Senate knows that Belleron is an opportunist whose ambition is only matched by his appetite for imposing his worldview on others. We now see clearly that Belleron is happy to set the cultural values on anyone who isn't Intaki, but isn't so keen when it comes to the grip of his political power base of Intaki Prime being threatened by the sensible security of President Ayard. It for that. Nothing there. Virat Special Military District, Presidential and Fed Milcon, blah, blah, blah. President Agar's administration continues to maintain that it's acting fully to secure the Intaki system for any future threat of Caldari occupation while providing for the broader prosecution of efforts to fully liberate Gallente systems within the militia war zone. Suvio Belleron says it's a flagrant and ongoing breach of the essential sovereignty of the Intaki people as provided by the federal constitution and all principles of the Federation. Senator Farron Shu dismissing Senator Belleron's position amounting to Intaki for Intaki and federalization for everyone else. As usual, Belleron is a central federalist cobbler for whom the shoe pinches when he has to wear it. He shoots back. Senator Shu has made a career out of supporting authoritarianism in all of its guises, whether it be Sengdo paymasters, black at home, or the federal military industrial money teat. He openly, that's right, openly sucks on while Agard looks on fondly. Okay. While federal senators and other politicians trade verbal blows over the controversial policy over Intaki, many citizens continue to protest and counter-protest over the issue. A large anti-militarization rally in Lenoika, Intaki Prime, was broken up by federal Marines after a number of Federation officers were allegedly vandalized by protesters. Intaki autonomous activists have alleged agents provocateurs infiltrated the rally, but have been forced to disavow the Free Intaki Army, a militant group that outright calling for the full independence that has claimed responsibility for a number of attacks on the Federation military and intelligence officers. So we already have the idea that there's this this autonomous movement, but the autonomous movement is distinguishing itself very early on from the Free Intaki Army, which are the more radicals. Nothing there. Okay, so Kalan Ampad and Shelin Remnev in visit Intaki Prime. Senator Ampad is a long-standing member of the Federal Senate with the following in the Federation Minotaur's diaspora, with though Veroki or artist and political activist not universally admired. Is not universally admired across a large population drawn from numerous tribes and clans. Senator Shelin Remnev was elected to the Senate for the subdistrict of the Greater Arcurio region, luminaire in this year's Senate quintile elections, filling a seat that covers her old mayoralty of the city of Arcurio and Caldari Prime. The visit to Intaki Prime by the Senate delegation has been cautiously welcomed by Suvio Belleron, as I trust that my senatorial colleagues will be able to see that the federal military has overreached badly here. Jonas Ivstara, leader of the Intaki Autonomous. So Jonas Ivstara is the leader of the Intaki Autonomous, who expresses outright skepticism that the visit would bear any but the most bitter fruit, given the Senate's delegates' focus on talking to the Federation military and the Collaborative Executive Panel. So, the Intaki Autonomous is led by Jonas Ivstara, does not like the Federation military presence, and does not believe that believes that the Executive Council is compromised. Senate delegates visits Kantayevat transorbital launch facility in Taki Prime to inspect naval installations. We see that actually in this video, I think. Intaki Syndicate representatives reportedly in attendance at Caldari Mimitar Security Conference. Yeah, that's fine. Intaki Autonomous Leader Jonas Ivsara addresses 100,000 at rally, and Navi Akat amidst high security presence. So Kanata Yavat, Navi Akat. That's the Akat foothills, probably. Federal Intelligence Office accused Intara Direct Action (PMC) of smuggling arms into free Intaki army. So Intara Direct Action, closely tied to the Deathless, is smuggling arms to the Free Intaki army, which is the radicalists. Accused Federation Intelligence Office involvement in Edencom spying. Ooh. Senate delegation visits city of Lenoica during Intaki Prime tour, accompanied by Chief Counselor Vera Unsalacio. So Chief Counselor Vera Unsalacio. So Vera Unsalacio is like the official person in charge, right? With Jonas Ivstara being like the head of the opposition, as it were. The moderate opposition. Intaki Free Army warns Federal Marines to stay out of Free Lenokia as barricades erected in dock districts and textile quarters. So yeah, Intaki Free Army, very much the more dangerous ones. Federal Intelligence Office issues security warning, a notice warning Anibra cult assassination teams present on Intaki Prime. Serpentis Corporation produced military boosters and armaments confiscated in Navy raids in Akat mountain villages. Carissa's pirates raid on Caldari supply base and syndicate. Oh no, that's the other Intaki. There's two Intakis. Clashes in Lenoka City on Intaki Prime as Federal Marines breach textile quarter barricades in pursuit of terrorists. That's the Free Intaki Army. Kaneta Yavat Spaceport Military Storage Yard shelled by Smart Mortar. Federal Marines APC reported destroyed. Kenta Yavat. So, yeah. Pro-Federation Adama assassinated by sniper fire while working in rice fields of Lenoika Coast Monastery. That's, again, there's assassins now. Visiting Senate delegation and Intaki Assembly Executive Council issues joint call for calm amidst Intaki Prime violence. Yep. Intaki Prime. Federation authorities have increased the security status of Intaki to 0.6 and lifted the moratorium. Civil disturbances and sporadic street fighting in Lenoika, largest city and cultural capital of Intaki Prime, have entered into their second week, while isolated incidents of violence has erupted in Navi Akat, the administrative capital and seat of the Intaki Assembly. Ah, okay. A joint call for calm. Wait, hold on. So in that case, did I close it already? Maybe I did. The senatorial mentioned Intaki Prime by the first meeting with the Executive Council in Intaki Assembly, chaired by Chief Counselor Vera and Salacio. Yeah. Either way. The Navi Akat is not the spaceport. Intaki Assembly appears to have fallen on deaf ears as a number of riots have taken place, with shootings and bombings added to the lethal swirl of violence on the Intaki homeworld. Chief Counselor Vera and Salasio of the Intaki Assembly executives has mobilized the Intaki militia to support the city constabularies and planetary gender arms in keeping peace. Federal Marines have been withdrawn to Kenta spaceport. That's the other one. Federal compounds and naval interstellar installations across the planet following an urgent request to President Sail Sagar by Senator Kellen Ompod and Shalin Ramnev, leading the Senate delegation's inspection tour. Jonas Ivstara, the leader of the Intaki Autonomous Movement, is also reported to have begun talks with the main faction of the Free Intaki Army in an effort to halt attacks of the Federation personnel and property. So, yeah, the senators convinced the president to get the Marines to pull out of Lenoika, because they went into Lenokia, whatever. They went into the textile district in order to take out those terrorists, but now they've been convinced to pull out and go back to the spaceport. And Jonas Avstara is helping negotiate with the Intaki Autonomous Movement. Or sorry, the Free Intaki Army. Third day of relative calm on Intaki Prime as tentative peace holds following weeks of protests and riots. So apparently the discussions went well. Intaki Assembly hires Elgento Corps PMC to hunt and neighborhood assassination cells after rebuffing Mortar's Legion. Intaki Autonomous Movement demands Federation military leave Intaki Prime for lasting civil peace. Again, that's the terrorists. Free Intaki Army Splinter Group ambushes Namar elite mercenaries in western Akat foothills. Buret Special Military District duties assigned to elite unit from Gallente Police Directorate. Senators Shalin Ramnev and Kalin Ompod visit Lenoika Textile District to speak to community leaders. So now the senators show up to discuss things with the terrorist cells, more or less. Caldari State Peacekeepers, blah, 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 blah. Bioadapted Caldari in combat armor. The ratification passed comfortably despite some opposition from the so-called Belligerent faction of senators strongly opposed to President Agar's military and diplomatic policies. Senate delegation to Intaki returns to Vlor to prepare a report on situation on Intaki Prime. Federation Navy anchorage on Intaki system opens facilities. Mass demonstrations in Lenoika and Navi Akat on Intaki Prime largely peaceful, according to Planetary Gender Arms. So there's still protests, but there's now peaceful. Intaki Autonomous demand elections to Assembly be held without delay after Executive Council proposes rescheduling. Intaki Autonomous, of course, being the more moderate people that want separation, or at least autonomy. Demonstrations on Intaki Prime continue as Autonomous push for Assembly elections on schedule. Gallente Police Directorate in shootout with an Ibra hit squad in outskirts of Kanta Yavat. I mean, that can't be anything besides good, right? Okay, so I think this is the one that really breaks things down. Despite continuing protests from against the federal military presence, and isolated incidents of violence, the situation in Taki Prime has been largely peaceful for several weeks, undercutting the arguments of those who have advocated delaying the upcoming election for the Intaki Assembly. System-wide ballots for the Assembly are due to be held in the first week of May. With the heavily populated Intaki homeworld electing the vast majority of seats. While the Intaki Assembly is the system's government for Intaki, in practice, it primarily functions as the planetary government of Intaki Prime. The other planets of the Intaki system are considered semi-autonomous territories with assembly representation, while the system's space administration falls under the federal franchise system, with the assembly formally designated as sovereign franchisor. The Gallente Federation's invasion and self-declaration of liberation of Intaki and 10 neighboring Placid region systems has put the status of the federal franchise in the Intaki and the wider Verret constellation in serious question. The Intaki Autonomous Movement charges that Federation Navy occupation in the Intaki system has breached the treaties under which the system joined and maintained its membership in the Gallente Federation. The Autonomous played a leading role in the mass protests that convulsed Intaki Prime for many days, while opposing the armed struggle declared by the Free Intaki Army. For its part, the Free Intaki Army has declared a ceasefire for the election period and endorsed the Intaki Lamkata political party, a nationalist group connected to a radical sect of the Ida faith. Intaki Lamkata is led by Siaka Idama, a spiritual figure that has spent much of her long career preaching that Intaki will only be secure and free to pursue spiritual rebirth and liberation if they are unshackled from the Gallente Federation. With the Intaki Autonomous, led by the charismatic yet pragmatic Jonas Ivstara, the ruling moderate faction of Chief Counselor Vera Insalacio is expected to face a challenging election campaign. So, Republic Fleet, Federal Defense Union, State, Hetman, Vice. Fiona Ravelli holds talks with Intaki Chief Counselor Vera Insalacio on Assembly election security. Intaki Assembly militia seized billions of ISK in shipments of illegal drugs and boosters in raid of Serpentis base on Intaki 3. Gallente Federation declares concern over new protests break out on Intaki Prime as fears grow of future shipcaster and permanent federal military presence. Now we start with the event, the new Capsular Day event. The prospects for an agreement between the elected Intaki Assembly members over the construction of a working coalition remains deadlocked at the end of a third week of talks on Intaki Prime. Final returns from outlying assembly wards and other planets and space colonies in the Intaki system and from eligible non-domicile Intaki system citizens have not substantially changed the political calculus set by the results of the election held during the first week of May. From a total of 319 of the 347 seats available, the previously ruling moderate faction headed by Chief Counselor Vera Insalacio fell to only 234 elected members. Despite this blow, the moderate faction made up of the members of the local Intaki affiliates of the Federalist, Liberal, and Labor Populist parties, together with the Intaki Social Cooperative Party, remains the largest bloc of the Intaki Assembly. The politically insurgent Intaki Autonomists, led by Jonas Ivstara, were able to claim 202 seats, while the radical nationalists of the Intaki Lamkata, headed by Siaka Idama, won 83 seats. The remaining 28 seats were held by a diverse collection of local parties and independent politicians unlikely to join with any other grouping. The serious differences in policies and long-term goals existing between the Autonomous and Intaki Lamkata, it has proven impossible for the two to forge a coalition that would govern Intaki. So, the Autonomists have 202 seats. The Lamkata have 83 seats. So that would be 285 seats, which you need. Oh, God. Quick, somebody with a calculator. Oh, 540. Wait, hold on. I'm dumb. Oh, well, whatever. $273. So if they teamed up, they would have a majority. While Vera Insalacio has the option of formally declaring a minority administration and requesting Federation authorities recognize her government on that basis. She's clearly been reluctant to take a step that would be highly incendiary in present political atmosphere. Many eyes are now turning to the Intaki Social Cooperative Party with its 63 seats, representing a possible means for the autonomous to build a coalition within striking distance of a majority. Intense discussions within the moderate faction are being watched as carefully by all as respected members of the autonomous approach moderate and independent members of the assembly. Federation political and military authorities have remained tight-lipped on the ongoing impasse, referencing all inquiries to the Intaki System Elections Commission and the caretaker of the administration, still presided over by Vera Insalacio. So, the Social Cooperative Party has 63 seats, which is part of this block. So you have the Federalist Liberal and Labor Populist Party, as well as the Intaki Socialist Cooperative Party. That's the group that makes up this 232 or 34 votes. But 234 minus 63 means that without that, they have 171 votes. And with the Intaki Autonomists, if the Intaki Autonomists teamed up with the Cooperative Party, we would end up with 265, which would be still eight short of a majority. That's why they say within striking distance of a majority. President Salos Egarn meets with senior Progressive Union senators to discuss legislative program. Attempted Inibra slaying of newly elected Intaki Lamkata assembly member foiled by Free Intaki Army bodyguards. So the Free Intaki Army... Oh yeah, because the Free Intaki Army work with the Adama. That makes sense. All right. And that leads us to today, where we have Intaki Assembly parties close to deal for social autonomous bloc to form new administration. We go back to here and we go, okay, well, we have the Social Cooperative Party and the autonomous bloc. So that group that makes that 273 votes, or that 273 seats, sorry, Intaki Autonomous is 202 plus 63. The 65 votes, 265 votes, which is still a little bit shy. That's the party that seems to be coalescing. And that is behind, the group is being led by, what's his name? Not Vera Insalacio, the other one. Jonas Ivstara. So it looks like Jonas Ivstara is going to be potentially successful in combining this moderate autonomous group with the also pretty moderate Social Cooperative Party. Now, what that's going to mean, I'm not 100% sure, but it really does feel to me like this idea of like a compromise is in the works. I still personally believe that Intaki is going to remain high-sec, and the remainder of the wars, the other 9 systems are going to be put back into the war zone. But we're just going to have to see. And time is ticking, man. We've got like 2 weeks. We've got a shipcaster being built. There's a lot of pieces going on. If you want to make sure, if you want to throw a wrench into this whole plan, help the Gallente build their shipcaster, because that really does bring this whole mess into focus. real fast. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, like, what we see here is that we have a setup with a big powder keg that demands resolution within Taki. We have the state making huge moves, recalling all of their members in to potentially do something extremely controversial or because of other concerns or just to strengthen their own power block. We see the Amar continue to kind of fracture and the Khanid working with Laidai and Amatar and all of them working together to build up the Amatar mandate section. Kind of the Amar using the Khanid and the Amatar as their like proxy group, so that way they can get away with stuff that they wouldn't be able to get away with officially. The Mimitar is, of course, still having their own controversies between the Malatu Shakor government and the Midgeler kind of speaking out against him, Karen Midgeler's daughter. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I really think that Viridian is poised to be the end of this arc, where we see the pirates and the smugglers that have been kind of boiling under the surface potentially make their move and bring a fire to this already highly explosive situation. So yeah, that's a little bit of a staggering through the current news as we have it today. Tomorrow, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Give me some ideas. I don't know. I think I'm going to stream. Now my brain's melted because of all of this thinking, but like, I felt like I had something to talk about tomorrow. So we'll do that. Otherwise, I definitely do want to get that editing done. Is it the sister? I thought it was the daughter. It might be the sister. I don't know. That's somewhere else in the news. I'm not going to go hunting for it today. There's a lot to look at. If anybody else has any other insights, I'd love to know it. Leave comments below. If there's anything that we should be looking at when it comes to these kinds of things to help understand the situation. I know like Sunzail being pulled up is also an important one with the Sunzail 6. There's a lot to keep an eye on is all I know. But I think that's probably going to be the big news for this week. So this weekend, hopefully we'll be a little bit quieter. We'll be able to get some Shadow War stuff done. And then next week we're going to get another dev blog and more things to look at. So I don't know. Like I said, I can't, no promises for tomorrow, but I'm open to some ideas. I might even play a different game, or I might play some Eve. We might do something else. Check out the latest couple of videos I made. I think that the Yeet exploration video really came out really well. And I'm still making the edited version of that. So if you want to wait for that, I totally understand. But like, I think it's ended up being good. Oh, there's probably a dual standings fleet on Sunday. So your Glamourix boosters still work. This is one of the last chances that you get. Bug Dutch Gunner and make him do a dual standings fleet this weekend. So that way you can get your standings fixed with the Triglavians and Edencombe. But golly, I know, I know I have like notes and stuff for what I want to talk about, but now, like, always in the moment, I can never remember what it is. So I think I'm just going to say, oh, Yeet a Metamorphosis. That's I should play around with Metamorphosis at the very least. I have been Ashrothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out, checking it all out, supporting the channel. You support that channel for absolutely free by just hitting that like button and sharing it with one other person, because we are here to raise literacy in EVE Online and help make EVE a better place for us all. Thank you for doing your part. If you want to help out in a much more direct fashion, you can always become a member or a patron and join the list of people who get thanked all the time. There's merch to pick up. There's all kinds of stuff you can do to help out, or you can even just join our in-group, the Convocation of Empyreans, where we maximize player engagement with EVE Online and help secure the southern half of the war zone for this Federation against the authoritative state. Thank you guys so much, and especially thank you to my top sponsors of Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arkas Ilring, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, Black Rose Noble, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, Golden Age Story, J. Kuhn, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seats Aplenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yantey Lepouf, Zaul Nex, as well as my Immortal Tier sponsors or supporters, 745 MPSI, Ebo Elite, May, Merc Utan, Nihilum, LM1, and Rid. Thank you all so much. I have been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden. And until next time, I'll see you in space. Wait a minute. LM1 said something earlier, and I made a mental note to address it, and then I can't remember what it was. So I don't know if I addressed it or not. Do you remember what it was, and did I address it? I don't want to let a member go by. Oh, I vehemently disagree with being able to change the color of the whole Citadel. I prefer it be able to change specific sections or some stripes are designed for this. I can already picture all the eyesores. Yeah, we're gonna have to see how it works out. Some of those colors did look pretty garish, didn't they? But I mean, it is, players are gonna choose, and you're gonna choose to be able to destroy it if you want to. So good luck with that. Enjoy 07.
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city